Click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to never miss another update.
The evil Caliph Mutassim grunted and murmured. He pushed his food around his plate as he angrily glanced around his palace. He removed his crown and wiped his head, which was drenched in sweat because of his extreme anger. His vizier nervously kneeled before him and shakily said, "My master, may my father and mother be sacrificed for you." However, this only angered Mutassim even more. He shouted, "Quiet! I don't want to hear anyone!" The vizier quickly stood up again, making sure to avoid eye contact. The soldiers in the room shuddered in fear. You see, the Caliph was known for making very cruel decisions against his soldiers when he was angry. The last time he was angry, he sent a soldier to the executioner just for making a small sound. Mutassim got up and started pacing back and forth in the palace while he muttered under his breath, "We put him in prison and he teaches the prison gods. We banish him to the outskirts of the city and he guides the people there. We have to poison him. But if we poison him, the Shias will protest. Oh, what do I do with this family?" He threw his arms up in frustration. He had just martyred Imam Al-Jawad, but now he did not know what to do with his son, Imam Al-Hadi. Imam Al-Hadi was only a 7-year-old child and had already started winning the hearts of the people. If he imprisoned him, the people would revolt. But if he did nothing, he knew that Imam Al-Hadi would earn everyone's love and sympathy and overthrow the Caliph. People always seem to find their way towards the truth, so he had to do something to get rid of him. The vizier felt he had found a good time to interrupt Mutassim's thoughts and nervously said, "May I be sacrificed for you, my master? I have a good idea." Mutassim sharply turned around and walked towards his vizier. Mutassim viciously grabbed the vizier's collar and angrily flashed all his teeth at him and yelled, "I will make your mother cry for you. You better not say anything ridiculous or I will kill you." The vizier's mouth turned dry. He gulped loudly and trembled. Yes, my master, whatever you order." Mutassim let go of the vizier's collar and shouted, "Speak!" The vizier caught his breath and said, "He is very young. Why don't we bring him here and train him ourselves?" Mutassim peered at him confusedly and demanded, "What do you mean?" The vizier answered, "Since he is just a child, we can still teach him. I know of a Quran teacher named Zainab who hates the Ahlul Bayt. All we have to do is pay him generously, and he can teach the young boy how to hate the Ahlul Bayt. This is much better than putting the young boy in jail, and no one will revolt against you, because they will have no idea what we are doing." The vizier was very pleased with his own answer, but was still worried about Mutassim's reaction. Mutassim stared at the vizier for a moment, and then looked away. He bit into an apple as the juice trickled down into his mustache and beard. All of a sudden, he began laughing uncontrollably, causing pieces of the apple to fall out from his mouth. He wiped his mouth with his sleeve and then snarked at the vizier, "I knew I couldn't find anyone smarter than you." Mutassim grabbed a bag of gold and threw it at the vizier. The gold bag hit his chest so hard that it caused the gold coins to spill all over the floor. The vizier thanked the Caliph as he quickly picked up the coins. That same afternoon, the Caliph sent a messenger to Zainab with a letter and 2 bags of gold coins. He knocked on the door, and as it swung open, a very old Junaidi stood there. He was so old that his back was bent, and his face was so wrinkled that it seemed as though holes had been burrowed into it. Junaidi happily accepted the job, and told the messenger to send Imam Al-Hadi to his school the next day. The next morning, as all the kids filed into Junaidi's Quran class, he anxiously looked around for Imam Al-Hadi. He finally spotted him next to him and noticed he was the only child without a Quran. Junaidi smiled and thought to himself, "Ha! This child probably doesn't know anything. I can translate the ayahs of the Quran however I like, and he won't have a clue." Junaidi cleared his throat as all the students opened their Quran mushafs, ready to begin class. A month later, Mutassim's messenger informed Junaidi that the Caliph wanted to see him for an update on how things were going. Junaidi grabbed his cane tightly and slowly walked towards the Caliph's castle. Each step of the way, he was muttering something to himself as though he was worried. As he walked into the palace, Junaidi respectfully bowed before the Caliph, who was in the middle of a meal. Mutassim was so excited to hear good news that he didn't even wait to swallow, and with a mouthful of food asked, "So, what news do you have about the boy?" Junaidi respectfully said, "Oh, my master, please do not say child, say teacher." Mutassim immediately stopped chewing his food. His jaw dropped open, and his eyebrows met at the middle with an angry frown. He demanded, "What do you mean, Junaidi? Be clear." Junaidi replied, "My master, everyone knows me as a teacher." Junaidi continued, "But this child is much more educated than I am. He has the entire Quran memorized. He even points out my mistakes. He doesn't bring a Quran, but whenever I ask him to recite from a long surah, he knows where to start and where to end. As I hear him recite the verses, I feel as if I know nothing. He knows the answer to the most challenging questions. I don't even know where he gets all his knowledge. What could I possibly teach him? He's my Before Junaidi could finish his sentence, Mutassim loudly shouted, "Stop!" He grabbed the nearest pomegranate and threw it at Junaidi. Everyone stood still and watched the Caliph's action in shock. Mutassim ran towards one of his guards and grabbed his sword. He began running towards his wazir while shouting, "I told you I'd make your mother cry!" Everyone watched as the wazir ran out of the palace hall, never to be seen again.